That's good. Hey guys, welcome to City Lovers episode 2. Let's get going. So this week we're going to have a look at what's been going on the past couple of weeks. So first of all, let's look at the news. Jamie?
Yeah, so I think one of the main things when we're looking at the news would be they've announced, we've seen some pictures from the Pam and Tommy Hulu TV adaptation.
Miniseries, right?
It's through a miniseries, yeah, on Hulu. So we got some pictures of Sebastian Stan and Lily James, who will be playing Tommy Lee and Pamela Anderson. We saw some pictures as a comparison there of Lily James and Pamela Anderson.
Crazy.
I know you were saying, you complain that Lily James looks nothing like herself.
I don't know, she looks so weird. I think she looks so odd. I don't think she looks very much like Pammy, but you know, you do what you can, I suppose. She definitely looks like, you know, the lifeguard on Baywatch, that's for sure. But yeah, I don't know, it's very strange seeing her like that. Compared to what we're used to seeing her as. I mean, we can look at a picture actually of we usually see her things in quite wholesome things. There she is as Cinderella, and there of course is Sebastian Stan playing Bucky Barnes in Marvel, as most people know him from. I've seen him in quite a few other things, haven't we? We both have. Mm-hmm. He's a great actor, but yeah, it's going to be quite interesting to see him playing Tommy Lee from the Motley Crue. And obviously these two were famous together for accidentally having their sex tape being revealed on the internet. One of the first ever kind of viral
things
like that.
Main ones, yeah. So I don't think they're probably going to go into that, maybe. I don't know.
I think they probably will. Isn't that the biggest story
are they
surrounding them?
Are they going to recreate it?
I think they're going to recreate it. That would be interesting. Maybe. Who knows? So, but yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. I love Baywatch, so I'm hoping we're going to see.
No, you can see there's definitely going to be some stuff with
some
her
stuff.
playing CJ
I'm hoping
in
we're
Baywatch.
going to see a lot, yeah. So that'll be cool. But yeah, she looks very, very strange. But apparently, she has been in less wholesome stuff a few times, which I didn't know about, but Jamie's informed me about.
Yeah.
So certain scenes in certain films, but yeah, no, I do love Lily and Sebastian, so it's going to be interesting to see that. Do we have an idea of when that's coming out?
I think it's just the fall, most likely, so November, December time, most likely in the US, exclusive on Hulu.
Yeah.
Not sure about a UK release at this moment in time, whether, but usually with some of these American stuff that may be on Hulu or Showtime or HBO, would usually go on Sky Atlantic, so maybe it'll just go on the Sky box sets come January time, maybe, who knows. But
let's have another close look at that.
Do you want to have another look at it?
Not that one, the other one, of both of them.
Both of them.
See. There's one of the iconic images of the two of them, and Lily and Seb in character. So yeah, interesting. I'll be looking forward to seeing that and seeing them play those characters for sure, especially Lily.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting looking at them. Just before we do move on to the biggest news of the last few weeks, I just want to quickly shout out, which was released 2 days ago, the return of Terry Silver.
Yes.
In Cobra Kai.
Yes.
It was speculated for so many months, weeks, as soon as that scene happened at the end of series 3. Spoilers. That Martin Cove's character John Kreese was on the phone to somebody saying that you owe me kind of thing, long time no speak. So, and there was rumours of who he was going to be on the phone to, whether
we all thought it was Terry, didn't we?
Yeah,
let's be honest.
Everyone thought Terry Silver. There could have been some left field choices there with maybe Mike Barnes or somebody else, maybe the other Johnny's gang member, the one that's in prison.
Yeah, I think he still will come back at some point.
Yeah, so but yeah, Terry Silver, probably the I say most unkept secret in Cobra Kai lore that it was going to be, but it was finally announced. They've released a small little trailer revealing the silver fox that is Terry Silver. Still got the same ponytail,
but it is silver now.
But it's silver. He's living up to that name of Terry Silver. But really excited for it.
It's going to be interesting to see what his character's going to bring now to the dynamics of everything. I think we're definitely going to see a massive return to the original state of Cobra Kai. And it's going to be interesting to see what impact he has on Johnny and Daniel, mainly Daniel, when he comes back, because Johnny didn't really interact with him in the films, but obviously he was a sensei to Daniel in the third film. So I think there'll definitely be a lot of friction there, which will be really cool to see, for sure.
Yeah, they have said this is one that's going to be quite special, that they have teased it quite a lot as well. Obviously, it's already been filmed, it's in post-production. There are some rumours from Netflix officials that it will be fall 2021, which is any time between October and December. We could see it land on Netflix. I wish it was like New Year's Day again.
I
You can just
know.
spend the whole day just watching it on New Year's Day. But
Great.
we want it as soon as possible, don't we? So excited for Cobra Kai Series 4 when that does come out. If any of you enjoy any conventions or anything like that,
I was just going to say that.
Yeah, there you go. A lot of them are going to Comic-Con Liverpool, which is in November, as part of Monopoly events in there. You've got Martin Cove, John Kreese, you've got Sholo, who plays Miguel, Jacob Bertrand, who plays Hawk, Peyton List, who plays Tori, Gianni, who plays Dimitri. You've also got Rob, who plays
one of the original Cobras,
and then you've also got
Mike Barnes
Vanessa,
as well.
Mike Barnes. Vanessa Villa, who plays Miguel's mum. You've got Mike Barnes. So there's a lot of Cobra Kai guests in there. I've just booked Martin Cove and Peyton List this morning.
Have you?
So there you go.
News
so
to me.
That's all booked. That's all booked for November.
Very
so
cool.
Excited for that.
Very
and also
exciting.
Ashley Benson as well from Pretty Little Liars. So I can't wait for that.
Yeah,
But yeah, Cobra Kai should be on our screens at the end of this year, which we are very, very excited for. Cobra Kai.
Go and watch it if you haven't watched Cobra Kai yet. What's going on? Get on it, people. Jeez.
And I think the big news.
The biggest news ever. The cinemas are open, people. Woo! How exciting! So how many times have we been now, Jamie? 3 times. And they've been open 2 weeks?
2 weeks tomorrow. 2 weeks Monday.
Yep. So we started out, one of the first films to be on was Spiral. Day one.
On the Monday.
Which is, of course, from the Book of Saw.
Yeah.
Right? Usually we go to the Odeon cinemas, but unfortunately they weren't showing Spiral. So
they're still not showing
They're still not showing Spiral. So we had to divert and go to the View instead.
After waiting like 6 months to go back to the cinema with our limitless cards, and we had to go pay for View.
Yeah, so we have Odeon limitless cards where we pay monthly, and then we can go as many times as we want to the Odeon. So, but yeah, we had to go to the View instead and pay to go there. But the film was. Would you want to give your review, because obviously you're a big horror fan and a big Saw fan, and then I'll talk about how I feel about it.
Yeah. So with the Saw franchise, Saw, the first one, is one of my favorite films of all time. The good thing with Spiral and the Book of Saw, Spiral from the Book of Saw, is it's written by Chris Rock, starring Chris Rock, and it's also got Samuel L. Jackson in as well. They do try and do something a little bit more different with this one as well, as it's not got the Jigsaw Killer in it. There is references to John Kramer and references to Saw and some of his previous work. However, they do try and deviate from that and not relying so much on Billy the Puppet or Jigsaw. There is kind of more of a copycat killer kind of going on there, as in he traps his victims and gives them a choice as a videotape left, which has probably got one of the worst voices ever in history. But I mean, it's got nothing compared to John Kramer. Billy's like, hello detective, I want to play a game. Whereas this one's like, hello Detective Banks, I want to play a game. Not a fan. So I mean, it's funny, but And then they've got a new puppet, Mr. Snugglesworth, the pig. Pretty sure it's called Snugglesworth. It's something weird like that. I don't think it's officially named that, but it's like a weird pig in a cop's outfit. But that's pretty cool. I think the only thing that mainly sticks from the actual Saw franchise is the pig mask. So this is something within the Saw franchise that was used by Jigsaw's accomplices to kidnap the victims and then obviously tie them up that way, which is still something that is used within Spiral. I think it's a great addition to the Saw franchise as a standalone movie. It's definitely better than some of the other sequels that were released in the in the Saw franchise as well. And I think it's got some of my favourite caps within the whole Saw franchise as well. Starting off with I'm not going to spoil it for most people, but there's a bit with a tongue which is amazing, and a bit with the fingers which is absolutely brutal, and that's probably like amazing. I know there's a bit where Mercedes just looking at me saying, "What's wrong with me?" Like it's just great. Like it's just like some of the inventions that they come up with, and it's just amazing. And I really enjoyed the film. I did guess early on who the killer would be. However, it's not about that. It's the reasons of why and what happens towards the end as well, which makes it a good tale. If I had to give it something out of 10, I'd give it a solid 7. It's definitely a great addition to the Saw franchise. I would happily watch it again. And for people in the US, I'm not 100% sure if it's the same in the UK, but it will be available on demand from June 4th, I believe. So you will be able to... No, sorry, not June 4th. June 2nd. June 1st. Tuesday. Tuesday. It's available on Tuesday.
First, yeah.
The 1st of June.
Yeah.
On demand within the USA. Not sure about the UK. It could be, but it will be available on demand in the US for streaming and buying and downloading if you're into that kind of thing. I don't recommend it though. It's illegal.
So yeah, I mean, obviously Jamie knows a lot more about these things, about horror films. I did actually really enjoy it as a film, as a story. I thought the story was really good. I enjoyed that. Like you said, we did pretty much get the killer early on, which does sometimes annoy me. I like to be guessing a bit longer, and I don't like really being treated like I'm stupid as a member of the audience, and like when things are obvious, that annoys me a little bit. But I did like the reasoning behind things, and the story behind it was good. And yeah, no spoilers. I'm not going to say a lot more other than that. And the traps I can't really handle. I love horror. I like, but I kind of like a bit more slasher horror and things like that. Kind of torture porn kind of unsettles me a little bit, and I don't understand how people can enjoy certain things like this one. So I spent a lot of the film like this because I just couldn't see it, and I didn't really like the whole pig thing either. But yeah,
Spiral from the Book of Saw is a lot less gorier than stuff that you would be more familiar with within the Saw franchise as well. It's probably the least goriest one, but there is a lot of comedy in it as well, which you probably expect from having a comedian write it and star in it as well as Chris Rock.
Yeah, and Chris Rock was really cool. I really liked seeing him in the role, and I didn't know Samuel L. Jackson was going to be in it, so when he popped up, that made me smile. And the other actors were good as well. The characters were cool.
Yeah.
It was, I think it was different seeing it from that perspective as well, wasn't it? With the cops and everything, within the actual. I've only seen a couple of Saw films. Yeah, but it was interesting to see them like investigating it rather than being as much. Do they? Oh, okay. Yeah. The only ones I've seen, you're mainly with the victims a lot of the time. So yeah, but yeah, no, it was good. So I recommend it. But if you're a bit squeamish like me, maybe take a cushion. So, yeah.
And just for the future of the Saw franchise, they have announced Saw 10, whether that be a continuation from Spiral to be a Spiral 2, because it does leave it open-ended to maybe have a sequel in there. And they have also announced as well that there will be a Saw spin-off TV series as well, whatever comes from that.
That's cool.
It's in early development. There's not a lot of information been leaked, but Saw 10 and Saw adaptation for TV has been announced, so we'll bring you all the latest news as soon as we know it.
We will. What else have we been seeing?
Speaking along the horror train, we went to see on Wednesday when it came out, The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It.
And this is my kind of thing. So I like slasher, but I also really like the ghosty stuff as well, and the supernatural type stuff.
The paranormal.
The paranormal. That's the word. The paranormal stuff, and I love the Conjuring films. They probably got me like properly back into like enjoying horror type things and paranormal type things from watching them, because yes, they're scary, but the stories are great and the characters are great. And I love the whole based on true events thing. I think that's really cool. So I love like reading up about the Warrens, and it'd be really cool to go and visit their house and see all the actual stuff. If you're not familiar with the characters and the storyline, so the Warrens, Ed and Lorraine Warren, are real life paranormal investigators that were active in the 60s, 70s, 80s. I think Ed Warren's passed away now. They both have. So, and they did a lot of iconic. They were involved in a lot of iconic investigations, like the Amityville Horror, and the Enfield. That's what I was thinking.
Conjuring 2.
Yeah, the Enfield Haunting, which is the film Conjuring 2 is based on. And yeah, both of those films are great. So I was really excited about this film. And I've read a few mixed reviews online. A lot of people have said that they absolutely love it, and then there's been a few people who've said it's not quite as good as the originals, and they were a bit disappointed. But I really enjoyed it. It was different. It was more of an investigative side of it than they have done before, like working with the police and things. But yeah, it was a cool story. I liked it.
Yeah, and I'll be a little bit biased in there because it's funny that we went from Spiral and Saw to The Conjuring. The original Saw movie and Conjuring movie was directed by James Wan. Both of them were directed by James Wan, and who obviously went on to direct the Aquaman film as well. But him and Leo Rannell wrote Saw originally. But with The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, I can see it on both sides. The film was good in what they did as well. However, it's not as good as Conjuring or The Conjuring 2. Maybe because it's directed by a different person. My own personal opinion is I'm not massive on the satanic rituals and stuff like that as well. It's not really paranormal. It's more to do with satanic rituals and obviously demonic possessions, whereas the other ones are more poltergeist and ghosts and hauntings, whereas this one isn't. This is more, like I said, satanic. So I wasn't a massive fan of that compared to the first two films. So it did take it in a little bit of a different direction as well. However, I do love Ed and Lorraine. Vera Farmiga and Patrick Wilson are great in the role as well. The Conjuring universe, they've got about 8 films, I think, now. You've got the 3 Conjuring films, the 3 Annabelle films, and you've also got The Curse of La Llorona as well, which is like a kind of from the same universe. It's not director. Is it the same director?
That's what I was reading online, I'm sure.
Yeah, which is obviously produced by James Wan, The Curse of La Llorona as well. So, and they were supposed to be doing a load of spin-offs on Conjuring 2 as well with Crooked Man, and
that would be scary.
And obviously they've done The Nun as well. So yeah, there's the Conjuring universe has created so many films. I think Conjuring Devil Made Me Do It is a really good film. However, if you're comparing it to Conjuring and Conjuring 2, it's not as good. However, it's still a good horror movie to go and watch.
Definitely.
And there's some good scare moments in there as well. And I say, what's the killer's pretty creepy.
Yeah. So the main killer is actually pretty creepy. The story, if you're not sure about it, that it's based on is a case in the 80s where a young man committed murder, and his claim was that the devil made me do it, was that he was possessed by a demon at the time, and it was just after his fiance's little brother had been possessed by a demon, and the Warrens were there for the exorcism, and he'd invited the demon into himself to take it away from the little boy, and then that's where then everything goes on from there. That the story is that he killed someone, but the devil made him do it, and it was the first ever a claim of that in court for a defense for murder. So yeah, but no spoilers as to what happened in the original story or what happened into this. So yeah.
It's been a pretty good 2 weeks for horror movies. Like I said, we had Spiral and The Conjuring Devil Made Me Do It as well. There is another film out at the Odeon at the moment as well, The Unholy, starring Jeffrey Dean Morgan, which we haven't seen as of yet. But for your own home streaming needs, we did get the new movie by Zack Snyder.
Woo, Snyder!
Plenty of slow-mo, plenty of gore, the Snyder way.
Army of Darkness is the
Army of Darkness.
Is that what it's called?
It's Army of the Dead.
Army of the Dead.
I'm
There
going
is a
into
film
some
called
Evil
Army
Dead
of Darkness,
there.
though, isn't
It's
there?
Evil
Yeah.
Dead. It's actually,
Sorry, confused.
but yeah,
Army of the Dead.
Army of the Dead, directed by Zack Snyder. It's only 2.5 hours long, so if you're used to your 4-hour Zack Snyder films, not yet. There might be a Snyder cut later down the line of 4 hours of Army of the Dead, but we will see. But I know Mercedes really enjoyed this movie, so
it was fun. It was so much fun. Like, I love Zack Snyder, and there was a lot of color and like in the poster, and a lot of slow mo, and it was just a good fun like zombie horror. You know, it didn't take itself too seriously. A lot of people that watched it before me were like, "Oh yeah, it was predictable." It was in some ways, but not in others. And it did end in a really cool way. So that, and there is talk of more films within the Army of the Dead universe that he may be working on. So yes, I'm excited. I would definitely recommend it. Dave Bautista, he's great. He's a bit of fun. And the girl, I can't remember her name, but the girl that plays his daughter was in the Miss Peregrine's films. She was the girl that floated. And she was also in a recent period drama that was on BBC or ITV, I think, as well. And who else did it? Was there anyone else significant in it? I can't remember if there was. I don't think there was there? Oh, the lady that's in Instant Family that plays one of the social workers. She's really funny. She plays a helicopter pilot in this, and she's brilliant. I loved her in it. So yeah, I definitely recommend it for a bit of fun on a Friday or Saturday evening with a pizza and a beer. Yeah. It was good. Talking of Zack Snyder, I've just remembered something else that we can talk about in the news section, which is over here.
Yeah.
The release of the Snyder Cut on Blu-ray Steelbook. Is it 4K as well?
4K.
And 4K.
For any of yours with an Xbox Series X or PlayStation 5 or even a 4K player, you can now watch Zack Snyder's Justice League in all 4-hour glory. That is available in a beautiful steelbook now. We have one each. We do have one, just in case the worst happens. Yes. So I'm lending that to my dad next week, so he can finally watch it all. But yeah, definitely. If you're still not seeing that, get on it, people. Yeah, so. It's very good. But there wasn't just horror. There was other films that were released that we have managed to go see. There was kids' films, Peter Rabbit 2, which I know you're excited to watch, but haven't seen it yet. Yeah. But for all of those Disney enthusiasts, Disney Plus released Cruella on Disney Premier Access for $19.99. For all of those that don't want to pay that, you can also go to the cinema and watch it, which is what we did on Friday. Yeah. We both went, took my daughter as well, Georgie, to watch Cruella, which is the origins of Cruella de Vil, the villain from the 101 Dalmatians movies. It's quite dark in some parts as well. It's basically the telling of her story from a young child and how she became into fashion and then creating this Cruella de Vil character to what we know and some people love in the Dalmatians movies. But with this film, I think for me, the film was actually 2 hours and 15 minutes. It was very long. There was some points when you're watching it, you're like, oh, it could end here, it could end there, and it's still going. But Emma Stone, I thought, was amazing as the role. She was brilliant. She had a great character development throughout. Or she played the role of Estella and Cruella really well, because she had this obviously born Estella and then creating the persona of Cruella. Later on throughout the film, there were some great soundtrack moments. The music was really good in it. The colour, the acting in it was really good as well. And yeah, I think for me she was the best part of it. She was what saved it, really. It was going into this film, from the moment it was first announced, I was very kind of on edge about it, a bit dubious about it, just because if you think about Disney villains and things, there's a lot of them that we love to hate. And I love Ursula, she's one of my favorite villains ever. I'd love to see a film about her at some point. But Cruella, I mean, she's one of the most diabolical,
like easy to not love, easy to hate villains out there, and quite terrifying really when you think about it. You know, she wants to skin puppies and wear them as a coat. It's horrendous. So I was really worried that they were going to like what they did with Maleficent. I was really worried they were going to like make her lovable and likable, and you know, she had a sob story, and it was a lovely, great excuse for her wanting to skin puppies and wear them. So yeah, I went into this, you know, very cautiously. To be honest, because I didn't know where they were going with it the whole way through the film, I was still on edge the whole way through the film, because I didn't know if they were still, you know, intending this film to be a lead on to what she then does go and become like that. But what it seemed to be is that they have seemed to have changed the storyline and made the idea of Cruella, the puppy skinner, more of a myth, and made it that people think that she's this bad person. It's like a mythical story that that's what she's done, but she's not really actually done that. She like allows people to have that persona about her, so that she has like kind of a stage presence, but she's not actually quite that evil. That's what it seems that it's led
It
into.
definitely changed some of the lore within the Dalmatian universe, shall we say.
Yeah, I mean, there are Dalmatians in it, obviously, as you can see, and the characters of Roger and Anita are both in it, but slightly different, you know. So I don't know if they're meant to be together in the end or whatever, but yeah. I did like I say, I loved her character development. I loved Emma Stone playing her; she was brilliant, and I loved Emma Thompson as always. She's amazing. Playing the Baroness, she was brilliant and horrible and scary as well.
Mm-hmm.
But her character was great. So yeah, it was. By the end of it, I think I'd enjoyed it more than I did throughout most of it, because I realised what they were doing. And like you said, the use of colour was brilliant. And yeah, the way they did Jasper and Horace was cool. Yeah.
And I think, like you said, Emma Stone was really, really good in the role as well. But for me, I mean, you've got the saving grace of Paul Walter Hauser, who
played Horace.
You may notice him from some other great movies and TV shows. He's been in TV shows like Kingdom. He's also been Stingray in Cobra Kai.
Yeah, this is the part where we take appreciation moment.
It's an appreciation moment of how great he is.
He's someone that's probably very underappreciated, and a lot of people haven't heard of him or don't know about him too much. But
you would have seen him. Oh yeah, he's that guy. But yeah, he's Stingray in Cobra Kai. Going from left to right on the pictures that you can see at the bottom, you've got here Stingray in Cobra Kai, Richard Jewell in the movie Richard Jewell, and then you've got him as Tonya Harding's bodyguard in I, Tonya as well. Those are just some of the films that he's been in. He's been in so many more. Obviously, like I said, he was in Cruella as well. He's for any wrestling fans out there, you may have seen him ringside on AEW or WWE. He's a big wrestling fan. He talks a lot about it on Twitter as well. But he's such a great actor. Richard Jewell was one of my favourite movies when that came out in, I want to say last year, 2019, wasn't it? It was 2 years ago when it came out. He was really good in I, Tonya. Any role that he's done, he has been really, really good in, and kind of underappreciated within a way. Should have been Oscar nominated for Richard Jewell. Obviously, Kathy Bates did get nominated for Best Supporting Actress. The character of Stingray is amazing in Cobra Kai.
He's just such
as well as the comedy relief.
Yeah, just absolutely fantastic.
And as Horace in Cruella as well. I would say on par with Emma Stone in regards to his performance in that movie. He's got great comedy timing. Like I said, he's a great character actor. He's just great to listen to, and his performances were amazing. So for anybody, you'd be like, oh, I've seen that guy in other stuff. Like I said, he's definitely one that needs to be checked out in the future and be in more roles. Like, the man will win an Oscar one day. I would not. I'll be very surprised if he doesn't.
I would hope so. I mean, I literally, if I see that he's in a film, I would want to watch it now. You know, he's just brilliant. His ability to go from serious to comedy is fantastic. Seeing him play Richard Jewell, I mean, that is a very serious like sad and scary film, but it's based on true events. It was the Olympics in, was it 86 or 88, something like that, in Atlanta.
88,
and it was
directed by Clint Eastwood.
Yeah, so Richard Jewell is a man that stopped a bomber or found a bomb at the Olympics, like opening ceremony or something, at some kind of event at the Olympics, and then it got pinned on him. Was it the actual FBI or people decided to try and pin it on him, and he was actually the hero. And it was always the film is obviously all about that story. It's quite scary that happened, but he plays it amazingly so well. And again, it's kind of in I, Tonya, it's kind of half serious, half funny in that he plays it so well. The stupidity of that character is classic. And Stingray in Cobra Kai is just one of the best additions to that show ever. Absolutely brilliant. So yeah.
Obviously, he wasn't in series 3. Whether he'll come back in series 4 or maybe in the future. No character is off limits, as John Hurwitz always says, the creator of Cobra Kai. Obviously, Aish wasn't in series 3, but they've opened the door to maybe being in possible seasons after as well. People come and go. Kylo wasn't in series 2, came back in series 3. Anthony wasn't in series 2, but came slightly back in series 3. So character can come and go within the universe. So hopefully we'll see Stingray again in Cobra Kai. Just quickly about Richard Jewell as well.
Yeah.
It's obviously with Richard Jewell, you had Kathy Bates, and you also had what's he called? Sam Rockwell. Within that film as well. And obviously Kathy Bates was Oscar nominated, but Paul Walter Hauser was on par and probably outshone both of those, who are really incredible Academy Award winning actors. So, and like I said, if you haven't seen Richard Jewell, watch Richard Jewell. It's a great true story. So that is my recommendation for this week. If you haven't watched it, watch Richard Jewell and look out for him, because he's definitely one for the future. However, speaking of no longer being in the future, we finally watched the end of Superstore.
Yep, so this is other things that we've been doing recently and other recommendations that we'd like to give to you. If you haven't seen Superstore, oh my god, it's so great. It's your new 20-minute to half hour whilst we're having dinner, whilst we're settling down to go to bed. This is your new show that you need to check it out. It's on Netflix, and then
series 1 to 5.
1 to 5, 1 to 4, isn't it?
1 to 5 on Netflix. Series 6
this one
was on ITV.
Final series 6 was on ITV, so that's available like on Catch Up. It's basically, it's a story of like colleagues that work in a store like Walmart, a big superstore, that sells absolutely everything, and it's just the hilarity. And you always got a serious side to these comedy shows as well, and the sweetness and everything that goes on between them throughout the series, and it's brilliant. The stories are great, the characters are great, the development is great as well. So
yeah, it's definitely one to watch if you enjoy your comedy. Like I said, the characters throughout the series are great. Not even just the main characters in it of Jonah, Amy, Glenn, Dina, Garrett. It's got some great secondary characters in there as well. I mean, sorry for calling you a secondary character, but people like Sandra and Justine and Marcus, all of the characters are great, and you have this hilarious within their own right as well. And like I said, it's for anyone that's worked in retail, can relate to so many moments that has happened within the series as well. And it basically hinders off the two main characters of Jonah and Amy, played by Ben Feldman and America Ferrera, known famously for Ugly Betty and the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants.
Yes, she was in there.
I haven't watched them, but I haven't watched Ugly Betty either, but she's really good in this. And like I said, it's basically about their two relationship within Superstore, isn't it? That's basically the basis of the series, is them two working in retail, finding each other, and kind of like
spoilers.
Well, it's about, I'm not saying they get together, I'm saying they like each other. But yeah, that's kind of what the basis of Superstore, and their friends and colleagues around them on their day-to-day life in basically Asda in the UK. Yeah,
now your colleagues do become like a bit of family in a way, and whenever you work somewhere like that, you are the only other people who know what you're going through, all those people who you work with. And even though some of them might be weird or, a bit different and, or annoying at times, by the end of it, you're like, well, actually, we relate to each other a lot. And, so it's that, like James said, it's the development of those secondary characters as well, and like how they interact with the main characters and how they actually come into their own, because they start out smaller parts and then grow and grow and grow throughout the series. And especially Sandra, I absolutely adore Sandra. She's my favourite. Yeah, Marcus is hilarious, Justine, and even Carol. Yeah, people that you may not like at first.
Hate Carol.
Yeah, we all hate Carol, but we love to hate Carol by the end, I think. She's so funny. So yeah, definitely, you guys need to check out Superstore.
Yeah, and it's one of those TV shows as well. It doesn't go on too long.
Yeah,
like I said, 6 seasons was enough. They did everything that they need to within the series. And something that a lot of shows get wrong sometimes as well, which Superstore didn't. It had a great ending. It was a perfect ending to the series as well, which obviously a lot of shows can't really say that they can do. And it wrapped everything up perfectly. There is room to do more if they wanted to. I wouldn't be surprised if there was a limited series or a film down the line. I'm sure a lot of people would watch it.
Yeah.
It was very, very popular when it came onto Netflix. It was number 1 in the UK due to people watching it. We were just a little bit behind because somebody doesn't like to just sit there and binge about 20 episodes in a go.
Wow.
So
enjoy it.
Yeah, so it was one that we stretched out and, like I said, took our time. Really enjoyed the stories and the character development in there, and like I said, it did have a great ending. Speaking of great endings, we didn't have it on our topics, but I just want to quickly say the Friends reunion was on Thursday. The Friends reunion, obviously, it did have a perfect ending when it ended in 2004. One of the pinnacle. It is the pinnacle of comedy TV. It's what everything aspires to be. When you look at comedy TV shows, like 50 odd million people watched the finale of Friends. It was one of the most watched TV shows in the 2000s, more than a Super Bowl, more than anything like that. It was one of the biggest moments. Everybody has watched Friends at some point, whether they like it or don't like it.
Everybody. There are some strange people out there who still never watched it, who need to watch it.
Yeah.
It was the biggest ever, will they, won't they, the whole thing, the whole way through for Ross and Rachel.
Exactly, but the Friends reunion is very, very good, especially if you are a fan of Friends.
Very emotive.
It's the only second time ever since the finale that all 6 Friends, the actors, Jennifer Aniston, Matt LeBlanc, Matthew Perry, Courtney Cox, Lisa Kudrow, David Swimmer, have all been together in the same room, and it just follows them walking around the set, sharing some memories, doing a bit of script reading, talking about their favourite moments, and recreating the game that lost the girls the apartment, and also having a conversation with everybody's favourite host, James Corden.
Yeah. And the odd character comes back in for like a brief little chat. Which I'm sure probably went on for a bit longer when they were actually filming, but we only got to see little snippets of that. Which
maybe we'll see Snyder cut of that.
Yeah, I'd like to see more of Gunther. I was thinking actually as well that they might bring the kids back, because that's what everyone's always wanted for years, to see what the kids are like now.
Emma's going to be like 20 now.
Yeah, and of course we know Cole Sprouse, who played Ben, is in Riverdale. He's still acting, and so we know what he looks like. But it would have been really cool to get all the kids now growing up, but we didn't do that. So.
No.
Maybe one day.
And they have shot down rumours that they don't want to do anything else. And they don't need to. Like I said, that's one good thing. Something that most shows should learn from. Like, I'm sure you probably enjoy it, but Sex and the City, they've done 2 movies after the series finished. I haven't watched. I think I've seen the Sex and the City finale. I can't remember. It's not a show that I've watched from start to finish. Unfortunately, I've watched the movies.
Did ruin it.
But this is the whole thing. What Friends, what is doing? Lisa Kudrow stated within the interview. She said everything's ended so nicely, all wrapped up. Everybody has the happy ending. If they were to do a movie, they have to unwrap all of this and then create problems again. So why would you want that? I know a lot of people do want to see it, but it takes away that comfort that you've had from Friends. Everything has been perfect. It's neat. This is why people appreciate Friends so much, because it finished perfectly. It was a great series for all 10 seasons, and you don't want it to be tarnished or put anything bad on that legacy by creating a film or miniseries, because they've always said this is about Friends in that time of their
Exactly.
lives from the 20s to the 30s. You don't want to see them when they're 50 or 60.
No,
Like,
the whole premise of the show, you know, the writers were saying was the idea of it is when you're in your 20s, your friends are your family. And they ended it where they did, because when you start to have your family of your own, then your friends are no longer your family, and that whole period of your life ends. And that's why it ended there, and it ended beautifully and perfectly. And you know that, you know, even though they're not each other's family anymore, they're still gonna see each other and be friends.
the only way it could work, only because we have kind of similarly had this, would be if we just had another continuation of Joey. I mean, like I said, Joey's the only one that really didn't have a family at the end of the series. Obviously, he wasn't married or in a relationship at the time, whereas Phoebe had Mike, and obviously Rachel and Ross, and then
the only way it could
Monica
work is
and
that if they all had to come back together for a reason, but they were all still happy within their own thing. Like there was like Joey getting married or one of the kids getting married. That's the only way, and that there wasn't going to be a problem for the actual group originally.
A Christmas special.
A Christmas special.
Who knows? But but like I said, maybe do it, because Joey did run for 2 seasons after Friends had finished. It was made by the same people.
It was fun.
Like I said, it was okay. There was nothing wrong with it. It was nice to see Joey. They introduced new characters, introduced a little bit more to Joey's backstory and his personal, like, family life as well. And the cast within that were okay. But like I said, it was no Friends. It was never going to be Friends. I do prefer episodes over Joey, because in episodes, Matt LeBlanc plays a fictionalized version of himself. Basically going on to a new comedy show called Pucks, which is a remake of a serious British TV show, and it's definitely very meta with some of the stuff that Matt LeBlanc does do in that show, and basically has to say how you doing all the time, because that's all that everybody knows him for. But they do actually have some cameos in episodes from some people from Friends. I won't ruin whom, but for anyone that hasn't watched episodes, I do highly recommend it. That is also on Netflix, and like I said, Matt LeBlanc is great in that role, and he did win an Emmy, which he never did in Friends. So
he's a funny guy.
Yeah. So
cool.
That's Friends, and that's Superstore, and all of our comedy. I know you really want to talk about a new podcast that you're quite enjoying at this moment in time.
I do really want to talk about this. This is The Friendship Onion. So I was so excited about this. Jamie told me this was coming out, and I was eagerly awaiting it and subscribed to it before it even got its first episode out. Just had a trailer on Spotify, and I kept checking, when is it out? So The Friendship Onion is, as you can see from the picture, Billy Boyd and Dominic Monaghan, who played Pippin and Merry in the Lord of the Rings trilogy. I adore these guys anyway. I love Lord of the Rings, and they are my favourite hobbits. I think they're everyone's favourite hobbits. And they will always be Pippin and Merry. Obviously, they've been in other things, acting, and they do other things in their lives, but that is who they are, and they have embraced that fully. They're still like absolutely best friends and see each other all the time and talk all the time. So they decided, why not just record ourselves talking, because, you know, people want it. I'm not really sure where the name came from, but I love it. So yeah, they've had 2 episodes so far, and they come out on Tuesdays. It's not first thing in the morning, so you have to wait around until probably about early afternoon for it to come out. They're not too long, probably about an hour and a half in total, something like that. And they're just really sweet, funny little conversations. They, you know, just talking about what they're up to, silly things that they're into. They have guests on every week who are Lord of the Rings fans to do a little quiz against each other, which is really fun. And it's fun to hear Billy and Dom trying to remember the answers to the questions as well, because it was so long ago. And sometimes the fans know more than they do. They're keen to talk about Lord of the Rings as well as other things, and they recommend their own things that they're into. They try to encourage everyone to get involved and send messages in and stuff like that. So yeah, The Friendship Onion with Billy Boyd and Dominic Monaghan, out on Tuesdays. Get on it on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. So yes.
So that's basically everything that we want to talk about. However,
looking
into the future, we did get to see a new trailer.
We did.
For Marvel.
Woo!
And the Eternals. So, I mean, for the Eternals, it's something with Marvel. Marvel like to do these stories from lesser known superheroes, shall we say? Obviously, to somebody that's not a massive fan of comic book, who doesn't really read them. Like I said, you have Guardians, Ant-Man. A lot of these superheroes aren't well known. I don't think Captain America or Iron Man were really well known.
Captain America and Iron Man weren't very well known. I didn't really know who they were before we had the films. No.
Like I said, it was always about Thor or Hulk or Spider-Man.
Yeah.
They were like the main Marvel entities, and then Fantastic Four, and then obviously X-Men. They were like the main ones, and then obviously due to the MCU, Captain America and Iron Man have become basically the face of Marvel now. So there's plenty of different comic book characters out there. With the Eternals, they've decided to do this film. Some of the characters, the actors, it's Angelina Jolie.
Yeah, big actors now.
Kit Harington.
Yeah, Kit Harington, and also Richard Madden. Both obviously Richard Madden and Kit Harington were in Game of Thrones as half brothers from the Stark household. So it would be interesting to see them get back together. People have been creating memes that they finally reunited, which of course they never were in Game of Thrones. So yeah, big stars. What's he called? From The Big Sick as well.
Oh, Kumail Nanjiani.
Yeah, he's in it. There's a great cast, and it's such a huge cast as well, as you can see from how many characters there are. I'm really excited about this because, again, like James says, we don't know anything about these. If you've not read the comic books, you don't know anything about these characters really. They're not well known, and I really like that because it just creates this whole, blank slate, and excitement for kind of a new story that we've not seen before. There is this thing going around though about where have they been during the Thanos invasion, because of course Thanos is an Eternal.
He's half Eternal.
He's half Eternal, and they're supposed to be the most powerful beings like out there in the universe, or if they're from a different universe. So they probably could have come along and just clicked their fingers and saved the day, but they thought
like Captain Marvel should have just done. As soon as she turned up, that was basically it done. Then
yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, they thought they'd sit back and let Iron Man and Captain America take that one. But the trailer, we finally got it, like Jamie says the other day, and it was a really cool trailer actually. There was quite a lot in it.
And you can always watch our reaction video on YouTube as well.
Yeah, yeah, that's
video.
on there. I was very excited. The big bit for me was when some kind of spaceship or whatever it is, some kind of ship that they are in, just appears. That looked absolutely amazing. You got to see a little bit of what the character's going to be like. That's it. Gemma Chan is one of the lead characters, one of the lead Eternals, and it seems like her and Richard Madden's character, are kind of eternal lovers in some kind of way. It shows them together through different time periods. So that's going to be interesting to see. It kind of reminded me a little bit of Hancock. In Hancock, is it Hancock? Yeah, Will Smith and Charlize Theron, isn't it? And they're both like superheroes kind of things, or aliens that have been around for years that have always been together. So that's what I thought of when I saw Gemma Chan and Richard Madden embracing in different time periods. And of course the trailer ended in a kind of way that all Marvel trailers seem to be ending, which the Black Widow one also ends in the same way of we're all big family sat around a table making a joke after we've just watched a serious trailer. So that's the comedy side. Yeah. What did you think of it? Yeah, you didn't. If you watch the little trailer reaction video, I get quite excited about things, and James just like, okay, doesn't seem moved.
Like 27 films MCU now, I believe.
Yeah.
Obviously with Shang-Chi, Eternals coming out again. Shang-Chi, no one that's really ever heard of.
Yeah.
It's good to a degree because, like I said, you're having all these characters, but I mean, I'm not gonna make a personal massive tyrant onto Marvel, but it's kind of not going in the same lines as Scorsese in regards to ruining cinema, but it is very definitely oversaturated with superhero movies, the cinema. So I'd recommend less superhero films, but we've got 4 coming out this year. So
yeah, I mean, I agree, it is saturated, but I at least I'm glad that we're getting different stories rather than just them picking the same characters over and over again, doing a different spin on it. That's what I mean when I say I'm happy to have a new story.
It's not having the same
They're taking it somewhere different.
It's not the same Uncle Ben dying, or it's not.
Yeah.
It's not the alleyway with Thomas and Martha Wayne getting shot in DC, like I said, because we've had 3-4 tellings of that story. I want to say we've seen Uncle Ben die twice, which is one of the good things that they did with Spider-Man: Homecoming. They didn't have this backstory that we all know.
Yeah.
Uncle Ben dies, and then he becomes proper Spider-Man and avenging it all.
And
we know Thomas Wayne and Martha Wayne die in an alleyway, and then
we know Jonathan Kent dies. We know all that. We don't want to see the same things again. We want new stories.
Yeah. So again, you give credit to where it's due with regards to Kevin Feige creating all these different tales and stuff going into Phase 4 of Marvel. Black Widow will be out soon. It's July, I believe. So just over a month to go. But I think that kind of wraps it up nicely for this week's episode. Obviously, looking at the next episode that we do, hopefully we'll have a bit more news, some new trailers out there. We will have gone to the cinema, I'm sure. Quiet Place 2 comes out. A Quiet Place
Loki's going to be starting.
Loki starts on the 9th of June on a Wednesday. So there's definitely some stuff coming out that we will happily look at and review for you all. If there's any news that comes out as well, we will bring that to you as well and have a little bit of discussion. In the meantime, you can always follow us on Facebook and Instagram. We are at Cine Lovers Podcast. You can find us on anywhere you find your podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Just type in Cine Lovers, you'll see our faces on there with our little snapper board. And we come to you every 2 weeks or whenever, really.
If there's news that we think needs to get out there, then we'll bring it.
If there's big trailers, follow us on YouTube at Cine Lovers Podcast, where we'll be adding additional content on there with trailer reactions or big news videos that we need to make at that time as well. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you have any questions, if there's something that you want us to have a look at, or you want us to kind of maybe review or kind of anything like that, like I said, just message us on Instagram or on Facebook at Cine Lovers Podcast, and we'll get back to you. We appreciate the support that we've had so far. Thank you for everybody that has listened, liked, subscribed. It means a lot to us as we get to talk to you about the stuff that we love, and we love each other too. Anything you want to say?
No, I'm good. I'm looking forward to Quiet Place 2 and Loki.